D. McNair on the air with Eric Neely. Pastor Eric Neely, guys, you better watch out. You better hang out. Because you coming up on the D. McNair on the air show.
You hang with D.
That's right.
You hanging with D.
That's what I'm talking
Sit down.
Hey.
Love your brother as you love yourself. But I see the issue in that is you only love people to the degree that you see yourself. So if you see yourself as worthless or not having any value, then you tend to treat people that way. And in turn, you show people how to treat you in that negative way. So, when we walk around, when I say that we are the church, first of all, we have to understand who we are and whose we are. And when we understand that, then we'll be able to go out and show the love of Christ. And I think that's what's dividing the whole country now. And it's even worse in the youth than what I see today.
Yes, it is.
Because they're going to school with these ideologies and don't even know don't even know why they are acting this way.
Have no clue.
No clue of why they don't like a certain color.
Adults are preaching to them, condemning them, and living such a holy life.
Let me tell you this. Parents, no matter the age of your children, they're smarter than you think. These children, they're the most purest form of God's love. So if something is going on in the house and have you ever noticed you come home and you're down and your child just comes up and just hugs you or just grabs your leg or something like that, they feel the vibes, they feel the spirit, they feel their energy. So when you have a lot of negative energy in the home and you're saying negative things and they're internalizing all of this stuff, and then when they internalize it, they externalize. When you get married and you have children, a product of your love is a child. Amen. Which is the greatest project of your love, right? So God and the Holy Spirit and the Father has made us his children, which is the greatest representation of his love.
But don't be testing your grace.
No.
Don't be testing your grace.
Because it's hard to explain this to adults that consequences is a form of love. It's not a form of chastisement. Oh
my goodness. So are you telling me that I don't have to worry that I'm going to stunt my child's intellectual growth because I tell them no?
Or pop that hand. No. Or pop that thigh. No.
It'll help the girls learn for cheerleading. I was a cheerleader, Hear it? It just helps them get beat.
Spirit fingers.
Helps them get beat. Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. He likes to have fun. But it's true. It does.
Yeah, but to bury that in, because consequences is a form of love. Because if you do something and you figure out it's not for you or it hurts somebody or yourself, then you won't do it again. So it's showing that God is showing us that, I'm not punishing you, but I'm allowing you to not let that event or go through that again, because the next time it's going to hurt worse than it did the first time.
And consequences are consequences. I've had people say, well, D, your personal faith. Let me tell you something. Rob a bank, they're going to search for you a long time. If I'm correct, there's no statute of limitations on that. And if you get caught, you're going to pay the penalty.
Yep.
It's a fact. If you typically smack someone, doesn't matter who you are, 2 men, 2 women, it don't matter. Chances are they're going to smack you back. Now, if it's a man, he's going to probably punch you, but you're going to get hit back. So why are we always so discounting? Because we're like, oh, well, Pastor Eric, I'm agnostic. I'm an atheist. It ain't got nothing to do with it. We need to teach our children that if you are angry and you hit someone, you react in a violent way, you react in an internal violent way, such as suicide. If you go shoot up a school, if you steal, if you rape, there are going to be consequences.
100%.
If you bully, karma is real. There are going to be consequences.
You reap what you sow.
That's all part of respect.
Yes.
And I'm seeing so many people, like I was saying, I hear so many adults say, but my kids need to respect me. And I'm going, guess what? I think they're actually reflecting what we want. We're the mirror they see.
Right.
We want respect, they want respect. They're looking at how mom and dad talk to each other, and if mom and dad's not respecting each other, then they're thinking, What's the problem? I'm imitating mom, I'm imitating dad. Or if mom and dad are respecting each other and saying, oh, I love daddy, I love mom, and we're preaching that and we're respecting each other, but then when we get to the kid, we tell them we love them, but we don't respect them. I love that my husband used a phrase with me once when I was having a moment about one of the children potentially suffering the consequences. You know, mom, sometimes we want to let them get away with something. And my husband said to me, you'll live and not die. And that, let me just tell you all, that's not a negative. What he was telling me was, I wanted to allow this child to make a mess, but we've got company coming and company in the house. Because it's Christmas doesn't mean this child gets to leave all the wrapping paper right here. And he was simply saying to me when I was like, but honey, it's Christmas. And he's like, but honey, he can go do that in his room. She can go do that in the den. They don't have to do that right here.
Right.
And guess what? When he told me that, the only people moved actually were our guests. The child wasn't tearful, wasn't sad. They said, okay, Papa. And they picked up their stuff and they had their toys and they were happy as a lark. Right. Parents, we're causing a lot of times the drama.
Right.
My favorite, okay, Eric, I gotta ask you this. Have you heard anyone say to their child, are you having a bad day? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Who asked a 4-year-old that? I know you're having a bad day because you just fell out in the floor with a temper tantrum. You're having a bad day.
Bad.
But I say that to say, when you talked about emotions are okay, are those the phrases you think we should say to the child versus they're falling out in the floor or we know they're having a bad day, maybe emotionally they're just spent, saying, let's go sit down and quiet ourselves.
Right.
It's no different than if you hold a baby and rock them to sleep all the time. That's the only way they learn to go to sleep. I feel like so often these children, these teens, these adults even, are reacting the way they are. They never learn self-control.
And that, I think that is the piece that's missing. Like the world is so open to, you know, this YOLO life. You know, you only got one life. Do what you want to do. You know, follow your heart. You have to be careful with those things because, like we said, there are consequences to those things. And the more that you follow yourself, which is not the plan that God has for you, because whether you believe or not, you have a plan for your life. There is a path for your life. No matter what religious beliefs you have, you are here for a specific reason. That if you try to, we can only do one thing to the plan that God has on our life, and it's ruin it.
Oh, wow.
Because when we put our own, well, I think I should be this, and I think I should do this, and I gotta do this, and I gotta do this. But you're doing it because the world says you have to do this. You're doing it because the world says you have to get married, and you have to have you know your career by the time you're 21, and all of these things. And, it's like I know kids who are like 7. And they're putting them in like these specialty schools to be scientists and doctors and all this. I'm like, the kid's 7.
Well, I think that's why we call it, what is it, the absent-minded professor? That was a real old movie before your time. But we do see people who are so smart, they have no common sense, no book sense.
None.
And the destiny will prevail. Matter of fact, as you all know, I told you we're here at the Burwell School, a historic site in Hillsborough, North Carolina. And we are helping ourselves to all of the historic information around us. And we've got Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley. It's the bicentennial, get that word out, bicentennial exhibit.
Yep.
So we are here at the Burwell School in Hillsborough, North Carolina. It's a historic site. It's the Elizabeth, get that word out, Hobbs Keckley. I was getting tongue-tied there. Bicentennial exhibit. But I want to tell you a little bit about that because it's time with what we're talking about when you said about who we are going to become and who we think. Elizabeth Keckley, Elizabeth Hobbs Keckley, you got that name? She was a slave. Matter of fact, you got to come up here to Hillsborough and read for yourself and just immerse yourself in this history. She was a slave. And we all know most slaves was a slave a long time. So this wasn't a short stint of a day. This wasn't the movie Queen, okay? She was a slave. So that typically, if you didn't know, means she was black, okay? Just so you all know, most of the time here in America, slaves were not in the old days any other ethnicity. They were black. She was a slave, and she stayed a slave for quite a while. But she gained her freedom. And when she gained her freedom, She became a successful dressmaker. I'm not talking about a five and dime, a successful dressmaker. But that wasn't the end of her destiny, was it, Pastor Eric?
No, ma'am.
She went on to become the confidant to President Lincoln's wife. Now you tell me, do you really think her mother, if she had locked her into the four walls constraints of just what she saw, could have seen that? No. So parents, don't try to lock your kids into the four walls or the frame of what we can see. Except the Holy Spirit is showing it to us, and even then, God doesn't typically give you the whole big picture.
No.
At one time. It overwhelms you. It blow your mind, as that little commercial says. Blow your mind.
We'll mess it up.
But that's an example of
Right.
how don't limit yourself. Don't try to be with the world, because surely the world might have wanted her to be a slave, but she wanted and desired more. She thought, oh, I'm a dressmaker. I'm free. But there was still more. She got to whisper in the ear of the woman who was in the bedroom of the President of the United States.
Power.
Say it again. Power. Okay?
Yeah,
power. I'm telling you. So with our young people,
Yeah.
Pastor Eric, it's the same thing.
That's it, exactly.
So we've got respect. We were talking about that. But dreams. When I watch you, tell me, what can we do as just a society to nurture the dreams, not just of our own kids? We got to look beyond, me and mine. We got to look beyond. What do we do just as a community? If I'm another young person, how do we nurture dreams, grow dreams? How?
Step one for me would be to get your kid involved in a lot of things, and especially, I'm have to use, especially in the African American community, we keep them in a box. You either, an entertainer, you're either, a ball player, sports, or you be in a family business or something like that. But there's like a huge world of things that are going on. Like you said, the fine arts. We have behind TV cameras, instead of being playing on a team, own a team. And instead of buying your favorite shoes, start creating your own. If you're into fashion, to open their minds to think and take them out. And being a parent is work. So we're gonna have to get that out the way. You're gonna have to. It's gonna take times and nights you're gonna have to get up and take your kid to something that you don't feel like going to. But understand that you're making an investment until their future, not just to their future, into your future. Because one day you're gonna be old, and you don't want them to put you in a home, right? So you want them to have you well taken care of, okay? So the amount of time and effort you put into them now will be reciprocated when you get older, okay? Let's keep that in mind, right?
I surely am keeping that in mind. I'm sowing a lot of seeds. An inheritance for your children's children doesn't always mean money.
Oh, no.
It's wisdom, it's love,
knowledge.
it's forgiveness,
Yes.
it's knowledge, it's long suffering.
Yes. It's the most important thing you can teach your kid is lessons.
And for those who are in the professional arena, particularly business and healthcare right now, one of our cliche phrases is, when you get to the conclusion of your presentation, your poster, lessons learned.
Yes.
I would like to challenge myself, even though my kids are at the house, I still have, grandchildren. Parents, you know how we make those charts that tell them their chores and we put up their good report cards? Why don't you try having a dry eraser board or a chalkboard that says lessons learned? Maybe one way, if you've got a child that's constantly repeating a negative behavior, it's not that we want to exalt that. We don't want to give a place for the devil. But let's say if they consistently don't take out the trash, and the first time you took their cell phone for an hour, the other time you took TV for 2 hours, third time you whatever, what would happen if you put them in remembrance with a lesson learned?
Right.
So that also that'll help you learn how to more strategically direct your consequences. I tell people it's nothing worse than taking TV from a child that don't watch TV. Really?
I'm telling you,
Okay.
like, my son like that too. Like, you can just snatch something from him. He's okay. He adapts.
Oh, we went through that too.
He just
My husband and
adapts.
I, we had one. We were just like, okay, Lord, help us.
What
Lord.
can we do?
What can we do? We're having to pray.
Yeah.
I mean, I think one time they were left in their room, and we looked, and the child was counting every other color thread in the carpet. Okay, all right. And they weren't being malicious about it. They just were entertaining themselves.
There you go.
Because prayerfully, I hope that's a good sign that my husband and I had taught them to be self-contained, and all things be content. So they were just like, hey, let's just count it. And I mean, they were excited. They were getting pretty high there. 493, 494. They're smart. So one of the things that, we had to do was come up with ways to direct it. But with the dreams, I just want to say, as a pastor, as a young man, a father, a husband, if you don't see your child having a dream, you were talking about getting them involved. Give me an example with a young man, and then I'm going to ask you to give me an example you've seen with a young girl of how you've been able to lead them to the dream of salvation. Because it's a dream for some people. They don't believe they can achieve it because they think they've done so much wrong.
Oh, yeah. It's understanding that your walk with God is a relationship, and I always equate it to my marriage. I don't cheat on my wife, not because there's a law that says family. So when people think, I have to get right before I come to God, no, it's the direct opposite. You have to, when you get that relationship, when you get the closer you get, it's not a rule, it's not a law that says that, God has to love you. He wants to love you. And when you get that relationship and understand, the closer you get to him, the more you'll understand that he loves you no matter what. And when you get that close relationship and you go out into the world, you represent him in that light.
You represent the love.
Yeah, you don't want to do things that'll bring a blemish on his kingdom. You don't want to do things that'll bring a blemish to your family. And when we get all the spooky, mumbo jumbo, and you got to stop smoking and you got to stop sleeping around, and you meet these people where they are and say, look, you don't go to a hospital when you're already cured. You come to a hospital when you have an issue.
Oh, wow, that's powerful. Say that again.
You don't go to a hospital when you're already cured. You go to a hospital when you know that there's an issue. So God is saying, come to me because I'm your only doctor that can heal you. There's a lot of people who are trying to fulfill an inside hole with outside things. And we have to go back to them. I always use this analogy. I do this with the kids a lot. If you have a BMW and you crash your car, you go to the manufacturer to fix your BMW. You don't go to a Nissan dealership.
No, you talk
right?
With a BMW.
Yeah, I'm not taking my BMW to a Nissan dealership. So that's the exact same thing with us. We have to go back to our creator, to our manufacturer, to get fixed of the things that are inside of us, because he knows the things. He knows us. He knows the in and outs. And in Genesis it says that let's make man in our own image.
In our own image.
And when I picture that, I have a very, very candid imagination. And there's the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I think of them as doing this. Like, let's say we go with Miss D, right? So they have a whiteboard. And they go in here and say, okay, how do we want to make Miss D? Because she's going to be born. I'm not going to say your birthday. I don't want
I'm not vain. I just had one. I'm happy about my 52 years of age.
Okay, so when were you born?
1966.
What day?
July 30th.
July 30th. So we're going to go July 30th, 1966, right? The Holy Spirit, the Father, and the Son say, okay, Miss D is going to enter this world. So how do we want to make her? They say, okay, let's make her have a great smile. Bling.
Oh.
Okay, let's put this on the board. Let's make her very detail-oriented. Okay, we're going to make her this. Like, okay, let's make her with a heart of gold. Okay, we're going to make her with this, right? Let's make her have a great sense of humor, right? So when they created you, they made you in their image. So all of these things, we have to understand that the greatest love, when you get married and you have children, a product of your love is a child.
Amen.
Which is the greatest project of your love, right? So God and the Holy Spirit and the Father has made us his children, which is the greatest representation of his love. And he gave me this, I don't know, I forgot the word of it, when you make letters and you put them in and you make words out of them.
Scrabble? No, there's another word for it.
It's a big word, I forgot. Anyway, and this image, the image word keeps coming up, and and the I am is for I'm, and the A is for A, and the G is for great, and the E is for expression.
Oh, an acronym.
Acronym. That's the word I'm looking for. So when you think of an image, break it up into say, I'm a great expression.
I am a great expression.
And you're a great expression of the love of Christ, because he loves you so much. And no matter what you're going through, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're doing, no matter if you just got off a pole, no matter if you just finished smoking a pound of weed, no matter if you just finished drinking a fifth of Hennessy, no matter if you just finished cussing your parents out or cussing your husband or wife out, he's still with you and he loves you at that exact moment right where you are. All he's asking for is a relationship. We don't have to give up anything. All we have to do is have a relationship. And I remember I bought my first car, my first brand new car. I was so happy. And it was locked. And me and the salesperson that was helping me would walk into the car, and he reaches out and he opens the door. And I'm like, how do you open the door when it was locked? He said, I had the key in my pocket. And then the Holy Spirit showed me, was like, we already have the internal thing. All we have to do is walk towards him and ask, and everything will be unlocked to us.
The door opens.
The door opens.
Ooh.
But we have to be able to come to him. Because my mom, I had a coach that always said, like, you know, if it's not a problem to you, it's not a problem to me. Right? So that's how God is. God is like, okay, if you're not going to open your mouth about it, why am I going to interfere?
You have not because you asked not.
You have not because you asked not. So we have to be able to make that first step and seek and walk toward, and all we have to do is just open our hands, and he will provide everything for us because we have the internal things, because they jumped them into you when you were born. You already have that navigation system. All you have to do is return to the manufacturer, and he'll make sure that your steps are ordered.
And you know, he used that Genesis scripture. Let us stop thinking you have to do it by yourself.
Oh man.
Even God said, let us.
Yeah,
There is a us in everything. Neely, I'm talking Pastor Eric Neely. This is what I'm talking about. Now let's see. We got to do this, and we got to do this, we got to do this. I know it's getting close to time to go off, but you guys, you know Dee likes to have fun. So I want to be that teenage girl that's trying to tell her daddy why I should be able to wear this dress.
Oh Lord.
Because you all going to just use some visual. I'm going to pretend like I got on that dress.
Lord.
You all are going to have to be visual. And you know I'm wearing that dress. I used to work at a little department store, and I asked them, are these dresses or these shirts or what are these? But I got to go there because, you know, you being a pastor, you know, you get us parents coming to you.
Right.
So are you willing to be Dee's daddy
I'm
today?
willing to be Dee's daddy.
Okay, and don't worry, everybody. Dee's husband is in the studio
Yes.
here at the Burwell School, so it's
Respect.
all good. Got to go there.
Yeah.
Well, you mean I can't wear this? I mean, Mom said I could. What's the problem? I mean, really, Dad? Really? I mean, you and Mom, I mean, y'all need to just get on the same page. Mom said I could wear it.
See, pause. Saved by the Bell and Zach Morris used to say, pause. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, see, that's a problem right there, that the parents are not on the same page.
Oh.
And if they're not on the same page, then it's hard, because that's going to bring this thing between me and my wife, with me going against her.
You all hear that? Get in agreement.
Yes. So beforehand, you know, with what me and my wife do is, my son said, because he tries to play us all the time, you know, we say, okay, this is what he can do, this is what he can't do. Do we agree on this? And if we disagree, we say, okay, why do you think that way? Why do you think that way? And, you know, most of the time she probably wins anyway. But, you know, if it's not going to hurt him, then, you know, we do those things. But if we have to get on the same accord and say, okay, skirts this length, this length, this length, how are they going to be? So the first problem is the parents are not on the same.
I didn't start this guy, so hey, you want wisdom and knowledge? I'm giving it to you from a man who's experienced it. So first we gotta get on the same page.
Yes.
So let's say parents are on the same page. I asked Mom said no.
Right.
But I can't run into you and you're saying no.
Right.
Then you and I talked about there's the things like chores, it's simply because I said so.
Right.
There are the things about other things, emotions. So what could you say as a father, as an example, if I'm a respectful child, but I'm still quite upset because all the other girls bought this same dress. We all went to the mall together, so parents didn't know we bought it. So I'm thinking, you know, why can't I wear it? Why do I have to wear a different dress? But I'm just feeling like, and I'm saying, well, Dad, everybody's going to pick on me. I mean, they're going to be like, there you go again. You're your mama and daddy's little girl. And I'm 15, Dad. And I mean, I just get tired of them picking on me. And I mean, you know,
Right. That's where we go.
I'm just an outsider all the time.
That's where we go to the dialogue and to the not because I said so, it's because I know so.
Hear that, guys? It's because I know so.
And what I know is the fact that I, being a man, once was a boy and a young man. So I know the internal thoughts and the workings of the mind of a young man. So to me, that goes to, again, a representation of me outside of the house, that I know that when it's walking down the street in that particular skirt, a young man's mind is not going to be on your brain and how much you know.
It's going to be on something else.
It's going to be on a whole lot of other things.
And we're not saying, let me just make this clear as we get ready to go off the air, that it gives any woman, any person, any man a right to not hear the no, and to not ask for a yes.
No.
But I wanted to end the show that way to say life happens. And parents, as challenging as that conversation can be, Pastor Eric didn't even know I was going to ask him that. Notice he didn't jump out the chair. He didn't run from it. He didn't have to do his hair. Stay in your chair, parents. Stay right across the table from your kids. Eat dinner with them. Put the cell phones and all the digital social media away. Have the conversation.
Yes.
Because I tell you this every time I talk to you, every time I'm in front of you, it is not about you.
It's about the we.
It's not about me. It's all about the we. Pastor Eric Neely. You saw his information on the screen, everybody. Reach out to him. You've got a young person, need somebody to talk to. You're the man.
Right.
He's willing. His wife is wonderful. His son is awesome. Thank you guys for watching the D. McNair on the Air Show. Tune in every week. I love you. Bye-bye. I'm in a garden, and there's a special meaning to this garden, isn't it, Lisa?
There is a special meaning to this garden. It is a memorial garden for my father. The space that you're looking at behind me 15 years ago was just bare. There was nothing growing here at all, and my dad had just finished being a general contractor on construction for my studio, which is right up behind me. I'm a glass blower, and I've been blowing glass for about 25 years.